And hello YouTube, this is GS Man Smart, and I'm going to tell you a brand new video for Gaming with GS. Now today's video we're going to be talking about League of Legends, another champion guide, and this is one of my favorite champions. I used to play this champion a lot when I was a noob early on. I did so well with her, and now I've gotten really good with her, so I decided, let's make a guide. A quick disclaimer, I do have a Mobafire guide as well. I have a written version of this, so if you'd like to read it more, there's a link in the description. You can go to my Mobafire guide for this champion and basically find the same information, probably even more information on it because it's a lot more detailed. Today we're going to be talking about Sona, Maven of the Strings. And this is a support champion. We're going to be showing you how to build her for bottom lane. You can build her somewhat tanky. You can build her AP. You'll see what I build in my footage later on. Just like in my Leona video, and if you haven't seen my Leona guide yet, there should be a card in the top right corner of the video, as well as a annotation. You can check my Leona guide out. It's a great support to learn as well. But Sona is also really good, and as we did in the Leona video, there's going to be a menu on the left side of the screen right now. You can pick what section you'd like to watch first if you don't want to watch the entire video. There's also going to be on the bottom right corner of the screen a back to menu button in case you want to go back to the menu at any point in the video. So that is there for your convenience to use if you'd like to use it. So first section we're talking about is Sona's abilities, the descriptions of those abilities, and just as a note, this champion is not very hard to play at all. If you're new to League of Legends, this is a great champion to pick up and to learn. Even though support can be a difficult role, I think as a Sona player, if you know how to play her well, and if you follow this guide and you listen to everything I'm going to tell you right now, you should be able to do very well. The mechanics aren't that hard. The skill cap is not that hard. I mean, she can be a little harder than other supports only because she's so squishy. But nonetheless, this is a great support to start with because there are other supports that are a little tankier. So if you start with a squishy support, you may be a little more confident later on, in positioning-wise, with other supports. So as you can see, she scales off of AP. Not the best scalings, but decent enough still that you can still build some AP. Now, the deal with Sona is, what's so special about her is she has auras. Depending on what ability you cast, you will get an aura underneath you that will affect you, and it will affect your allies. So we're going to be going over that a little more later on, but just know that she has auras, and they do affect her and her allies around her, depending on what ability she uses. Now, for her power chord, this is her passive. This is affected by all of her other abilities, so we're going to be talking about this a little more later when we talk about the other abilities. But all you need to know is that after every 3 abilities you use, and not including your ultimate, so after every 3 basic abilities you use, you basically earn a power chord. And you can see how many power chord stacks you have on top of your Q ability. There should be a little symbol there that says how many power chords you have, and if you have a power chord, it'll basically give you this little symbol. You'll see it in my Mobafire guide, and you'll see it in the video footage later on. I'll point it out to you. But when you have this symbol, a power chord is available for you, ready to use. It's after every 3 basic attacks. Basic abilities, not basic attacks. After every 3 basic abilities, you have a power chord. And it will basically do bonus damage on your next auto attack, and it will basically have another effect depending on what ability you use last. So, now, your Q is your first ability, and this is basically a damage ability. The thing about Sona is that it's really nice. Her abilities are really nice because they each have a different role. One's damage, one's defense healing, one's speed boost. So for your Q, it's damage. When you activate it, you send out basically 2 little missiles, I guess. I don't know, they're like music notes, something like, I don't know what they're calling even. It just sends out 2 bolts of sound. That's what they have it described here. It sends out 2 bolts of sound that deal magic damage within 850 range. It prioritizes champions, so if champions are in close enough range, it'll attack them first. This can steal some CS, however, if you time it correctly, it shouldn't be a problem. This is your main ability you always want to be using. It costs the least mana. All the other abilities cost a lot more mana than this does, which kind of sucks, which is one of the reasons why you always want to be using this ability, because Sona is a poke champion. She's a poke support, and this is your main poke ability. You want to get in, use your Q to poke, get back out. It does scale off of AP, a pretty good scaling at that. Not the best scaling, but decent enough. But the aura that it gives you, remember like I told you, every ability gives you an aura? Well, your Q's aura basically gives you and anybody within your aura, it gives them a damage boost. It gives them on-hit magic damage. So every auto attack they use, they gain a damage boost, specifically magic damage boost by 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, depending on what level, how many points you put into your Q, and also it boosts by 20% AP, which is a really crappy scaling. But nonetheless, this is a great ability for boosting your damage and boosting your allies' damage as well. Now, when you have a power chord, if you've used 3 abilities and your power chord is the last ability that you've used in that 3 combo chain, and I'll be where you can, you know, continue to use abilities and your power chord will not go away. So if you've used, say, 2 heals and then you've used a speed boost and you want to get that blue power chord, you can always use Q again. It won't restart your power chord to 1. It won't reset it. So you can, you know, bring your power chord all the way up to 3, and then you'll have it forever. It doesn't reset. It doesn't restart counting. So as long as you use 3 abilities, you'll have the power chord, and it will always be there until you use it. But the point is that if your Q, which is Hymn of Valor, the blue aura, if that's the last ability you used, then if you auto attack and use your power chord, now remember, every time you auto attack and you have a power chord, it automatically gets used. It'll be used on minions, it'll be used on towers, it'll be used on champions. So be aware. Don't auto attack a turret if you have power chord. Use it on a champion, unless nobody's there, obviously. So what this does, if the last ability used was Q, then power chord will basically deal tons of damage. That's basically what it is. It'll give you 40% bonus damage. So on top of your Q, what I like to do is combo my Q and then use my auto attack, so it does a lot of damage. You'll see in the video, it does tons of damage. It's crazy. So basically, your power core with your Q, it does a lot of damage. That's basically what it is. Now your W is your heal. It costs a lot of mana, 80 mana. You don't want to spam this early game. You don't have a lot of mana early game. It does give you a pretty good heal though, but to be quite frank with you, the heal doesn't really have that big of an effect until, you know, mid game, late game. It's still a really good heal though. It can sustain your lane very well. So your W is a heal. When you activate it, it also heals depending on how much health they have. The less health they have, the more it heals for. But the good thing about this is that the aura that it gives you, it basically, anybody that goes in your aura gets shielded. It gives you a free shield for 1.5 seconds, which is really good. So it's a heal, and the aura is a shield. Now if you have power chord, if this was the last ability you used, and you auto attack after you've used this ability, what this will do, it'll basically reduce the amount of damage from the target that you're hitting. So if you're hitting a Caitlyn, then that Caitlyn will do 20% less damage for the next 3 seconds. It's sort of like a mini exhaust, only that it doesn't give you a slow, and it's not that high of a damage reduction. It's a mini exhaust. It gives you a little bit of mana. It gives you a little bit of a damage reduction. It's kind of like red smite, the red item for smite. It reduces damage as well. So think of it like that. All this does is reduces damage when you use power chord on an enemy. So that's really good. Now we have Song of Celerity. I don't know how to spell it, but I don't know how to pronounce it. But whatever. This is your E. This is your speed boost. When you use it, you gain speed boost, and anybody around you in your aura gives a speed boost. What does your aura do? Gives them a speed boost. This is all it basically is, the speed boost. Now, if you have a power chord, if this was the last ability you used before you auto attack with your power chord, what this will do, it will slow. It'll slow an enemy by 40% for 2 seconds. So, Sona does have some CC. Her R is the best CC in her kit. It's a massive stun. It's a skill shot, so you're going to need to aim it. But the cool thing is that each rank crescendo, it improves the speed boost as well. So, yeah, you're basically moving faster, which is one of the reasons why we don't max this till last, because it honestly isn't that great, and it really shines late game when we have full points in this, and you know, when we actually need speed boost late game and middle game. So what this does, it stuns them for 1.5 seconds, and it also does damage. Pretty good scaling, not the best. Like same scaling as the Q. It does damage and it stuns them. You could stun 5 people in a row if you aim it correctly. It's a really good ability. It really sets up plays. So great ability to use. So those are basically the abilities. You basically have a damage ability, a heal ability, a speed boost ability, and a massive stun. Abilities are very easy to understand, which makes the champion pretty easy to play. And you have your power core. That's the only thing you pay attention to. Make sure that you don't waste your power core when you have it. Make sure you use it, in a useful way. So those are the abilities. Now let's go ahead and look at ability sequencing. I'm actually going to move over to my Mobafire guide for ability sequencing because it's a lot easier to explain there. And here it is. Alright, so for ability sequencing, we want to start with our Q first. And the reason why is because it gives us that early damage. That early damage we need. We need that early damage, and it'll really, like, the Q is really powerful early game. It's powerful throughout the game, but early game it does a lot. It does tons of damage, really. So you want to max your Q first so you can zone, put pressure, deny CS, all that good stuff as a support that you do. So max your Q first. You know, max your W second because the heal isn't really that effective until around level 6, 7, 8. And plus, we don't have a lot of mana early game, so we don't want to be wasting a lot. So use your heal wisely early game. Come mid late game, you can sort of spam it. But we're maxing W second. And we're maxing E last because this ability is really only useful mid-late game. Especially in team fights. It's really good in team fights. You'll see in the video footage that I have that we'll get a massive speed boost from E. And then we'll obviously max our ultimate whenever we can. So that's that. Pretty simple ability sequence. QWE first, and you max some QWE as well, and R whenever you can, obviously. Now, Masteries, we are focusing on mana heavily. Sona is a very heavily mana reliant champion. Very much so. So, you're going to need to focus on mana. We're going 0-9-21, a standard 9 defense. And we're using 21 points to get that mana here for meditation, to get the mana for strength, not mana, this is healing, but to get the mana for expanded mind. And because we're squishy, we also want to get Strength of Spirit, which will give us health regen per 300 maximum mana. Our build is going to somewhat be focused around mana, so we can spam our abilities more without, having to suffer the huge mana loss. So this is a great, mastery because it'll give you health regen. Now, apart from that, we're getting a ton of gold bonuses right here. As a support, we don't make a lot of money. Everyone knows we're poor as support, so you want to get all these right here. This will really give you a lot of gold. And then biscuits, obviously, pretty much standard stuff on this side. Biscuits to, help us gain mana and health with a potion. If you want to read more about these masteries, there's a bit more explanation behind the masteries in this guide here, if you want to read it. Now for runes, we're going ability power quints, we're going seals of armor, glyphs of magic resist, and marks of magic penetration. The seals and glyphs are pretty standard, and most people pretty much run this too for almost every champion, with a few exceptions, but this is pretty standard right here. Now the reason why quints of ability power, you could use quints of cooldown reduction, but one of the items that we build is going to give us a pretty good amount of cooldown reduction. So ability power is the next best thing, because even though our scalings aren't that good, we still scale off of AP, and the AP scalings aren't terrible. They're decent enough. So this early game ability power will really help your Q do damage. It'll really help your heal do a little more. As Sona, you are heavily reliant on your abilities. And what scales your abilities? AP. So, we want to go with AP Quints. A reason why we're going marks of magic penetration is because you do tend to do a lot of damage early game. I've seen lanes sometimes go magic resist early lane just because of Sona poke. But in case anybody builds magic resist, like one magic resist item, our build has no magic penetration. So runes are the only thing that we're going to get magic penetration from. So you want to get this so we at least have some magic penetration in case people are building some magic resistance. You are AP based. Now for summoner spells, exhaust and flash, pretty standard. So that's that. So those are runes and masteries. We've gone over ability sequences and we've gone over ability descriptions. Now one thing we're going to go over is the how to poke with Sona. Now this is really important in games, and I have it written in the Mobafire guide as well. But the way you want to poke with Sona, if we just watch this laning phase right now, well, let's get to like I think we don't start poking until like, as you can see, I just go in, I Q, I back out. I only go into Q and then I back out. I don't stay there to do autos. I don't do anything else. I go into Q, I back out. As you see at the bottom right here, this is our power chord stack. Right now we have 2. We use one more ability, we get a power chord. I go into Q, I go back out. Now, if you notice, I get a power chord right after that. Watch. Let me get the exact frame where we get a power chord. We get a power chord. I immediately, right after I use my Q, I immediately put an auto on him so that my power chord can be used. And look at the damage output. Great damage output. Great trade right there. So this is kind of how you want to poke. You want to go in, Q, and go back out. That's all you want to do. That's all I'm doing right now. Going in, Qing, going back out. And as you can see, this is denying Draven farm. It's requiring him to play defensively. And it's allowing my ADC to not have as much pressure and being able to farm more easily. But as you see, that's all I'm pretty much doing. I'm only going in, queuing, using my power chord, and going back out. Draven is so low right now. So that's the whole idea with that. I mean, that's pretty much it. There's nothing really much to it. I just wanted to show you guys that because it's really important to know how to poke with Sona. That's the whole idea. In my guide near the bottom here, I have a more detailed description on how to poke. I explain the whole power chord stuff, and I give you some information on laning phase and how to position yourself and how to play more early on. But for the most part, your job early game is just to poke down the enemies and then allow your ADC to get the kills. Make sure that you zone them out with your Q. That's pretty much early game. So that's a little tutorial on how to poke. Now we're going to be going into an actual video footage of me playing Sona, which I have right here. So I'm going to be showing you how to build, what to build, and show you some examples. Let me actually lower this down. Now as you can see, we're starting with Spellthiefs, a pink ward, a potion, and a stealth totem. Now the reason why I'm going to start with Spellthieves is so that we can have... Now Spellthieves gives you gold every time you poke an enemy. You could start with Ancient Coin. You could build a Talisman. A Talisman is very good on Sona because it allows her to play passively if she needs to play passively. You know, if you're facing a hard lane, you aren't forced to poke with Spellthieves. You can get an Ancient Coin and you can play passively, gain gold from your ADC CS, and you'll not be forced to play passively. Plus, the Talisman is great. It's a great escape, great engage. That active on the Talisman gives you that speed boost. You go even faster. It's great mobility, great utility. So, but for me, I get a lot more gold off of Spellthieves. You'll see that if you keep up your poke game, then you can get a lot of gold off of Spellthieves. So Spellthieves is really good. Plus, the active slows down enemies that are trying to chase you or you're trying to chase. So it does give you somewhat of utility as well. So we're just going to be leeching here our Cho'Gath. We're playing bot with Graves right now. As you can see, I put a point in my Q because that's what we're going to be using first. I bought a pink ward so we can ward that Tribush. It's always important to ward the Tribush. Whether it's on your side or on the enemy side, you always want to ward the Tribush. The reason why I put a pink ward in my Tribush is because for most games, like there are some games where people clear my pink ward, but for a lot of games, that pink ward stays in that tribush for at least half the game. So it's a great place to put the pink ward. And we're obviously starting with biscuits so we can get that mana regen when we need it, and that health regen when we need it. It's only one, so it's not that big of a deal, but it'll be there when we need it. So when we go back into lane here with Graves, you'll see that we won't be doing much. We'll just be poking, as you saw. As you see, now we're going against an Annie, which can be a very hard matchup, because Annie is such a strong support. She has a stun every 3 basic attacks. So you'll see that I don't want to play as aggressive. I want to make sure that my pokes are smart. I don't want to freely go in and poke, It's not as easy as Taric and Draven because Annie has burst. She can do a lot of damage. She can stun you. She's a dangerous support. So you want to play a little more defensively here, but you still want to do some pokes. As you can see, I'm being very smart about my pokes. I'm only going in when one person is really far away, or I'm only going in when one person is really close. I don't want to deal with Quinn and Annie both if they're near each other. Your Q does have some range, so you can stay far away. But, if you poke, you want to make sure that you do it. And here we flash away. We got a little too close. You saw how dangerous that Annie stun is. But our Graves is still able to pick up the kill because we poked Annie down enough. That's all you really want to do. You want to poke them down enough so your AC can pick up the kill. That's the main thing you're doing. Right now we have power cord, as you can see. And we don't really quite reach, or auto doesn't reach. But you see the little thing spinning around your character right there? That means you have a power cord. When you see that, you want to use that. I usually always use it with my Q because of the damage. I just put a pink ward in the tri-bush. Around level 2, level 3, you want to start warding your stuff. If you ward too early, it won't be useful because it will expire by the time. Like I say, I'm saving my power cord. I'm not hitting minions. I'm not hitting turret. I'm saving my power cord because I want to use it on her. I'm using my Q to increase the damage of Graves so you can do more damage to the turret. That's a good thing to do. Just because you're using Q, you don't need to auto. Your Q, you still save your power cord. That's what I'm trying to say. Your power cord stays forever until you use it, until you auto attack something. But as you can see, mana consumption is really high early game. I'm going back to buy a stealth award along with upgrading our Spellthiefs to the next tier. And we're picking up, that's basically it. Always, whenever you back, you want to try to pick a stealth ward. At least one. So, as you can see, our Graves is saying good job poking because we are doing a pretty good job poking. As long as you keep your ADC alive, you're doing a good job. As long as you poke the enemy down and allow him to get kills, you're doing a good job. So, right now we're doing fairly well. Our Graves has 1 kill. And here we're going to go back to poking. That's all. We want to deny this Quinn CS. That's all we want to do. We want to deny Quinn CS so that our Graves can dominate in CS. You are playing a poke lane. When you play Sona, you're playing a poke lane. You're not playing a kill lane. A kill lane is Leona. You're all in. You're going to go all in with Leona and try to kill. With Sona, it's a poke lane. And right now, there Annie flashed. Don't know why she flashed though. She tried to set up something, but now her stun's gone. Now we can be a little more aggressive. When her stun is gone, you can be a little more aggressive. But as I was saying, with Sona, you're playing a poke lane. You're not meant to go all in and kill. You're meant to poke them down slowly, and if you can pick up a kill, then pick up a kill. But most poke lanes, you want to have an advantage in farm. That's the important part. So right now, we're just making sure that Warwick doesn't come over here. Right now, we're level 4. As you can see, we put a point in our W and our E, but we're making sure that we're maxing our Q first. And he's gonna come in. We got a good poke off. See that damage with that Q? It's so much damage with that Q. And the good thing is, as soon as you Q, remember your aura gives you boost in damage and your allies, so you can get a quick auto in to get some more damage off as well. Right there, we're trying to get some poke off. All we're doing is going in, poking, going back, going in, poking, going back, and we're allowing our ADC to get all the CS that he needs. Right now, Quinn had to recall because she was probably low health. This allows our ADC to get more kills, more CS. Right now, it's 43 CS. The Quinn has 19 CS. That's how you want to play a poke lane. That's how you want to play Sona in lane. You want to allow your ADC to get a ton of CS, deny the enemy CS, and just poke them down. You don't need to get kills. Remember that a certain amount of CS is equal to a kill. So Don't worry about kills, worry about CS. Right now we're still doing a good job poking. We do have a level advantage. We're going to be level 6 before they will. That's something always to keep in mind. Make sure you constantly ward. If you see a ward run out in a bush, make sure you put one. If you don't have a ward available, ask your ADC to ward. He has a stealth totem as well. As you can see, we're just going into poke, and that's all we're doing. Going in, going back out. Putting pressure on that bot lane so they can't freely CS. And Graves is doing a great job just staying back, CSing, allowing me to poke them down. Now here is a mistake. This is what you don't want to do. You don't want to go ahead of your enemy and of the minion wave. And as that was a max range Q there. Kind of bullshit, you know. I mean, I put exhaust on her, and that was a max range Q there, and she still killed me. But that was a mistake there on my part, and that was our fault. That was my fault right there. I overextended. You don't want to do that. Sona is very squishy, and especially with Annie, who has a stun ready. You know, if you don't have minions in front of you, if you're going past the enemy minion wave, that's a bad sign. I got a little too confident there. I thought I could do something because, you know, I thought, hey, I'm Sona, you know. But you don't want to do that. That was my fault there. That was my mistake, and you don't want to do that. So we gave Quinn 2 kills right now, but the good thing is that our Grace has 51 CS. Quinn has 26. We're doubling her CS, so he probably has the same amount of gold as Quinn does right now, just because of the CS advantage. And so right now we're doing fairly well. We did give Quinn 2 kills there, but you know, the important part is to not do it again. If you make a mistake like that, don't do it again. That's the important part right there. So we're back in the lane right now with Graves. We're gonna still try to poke them down, but we're not gonna overextend anymore. That was an overextended area that we made that last play. So right now we see Annie has her stun. We don't want to go all in. You see she's far away from her ADC. When she's far away from her ADC, then you want to go in. That's only with Annie. I mean, other supports you could Q when they're both next to each other because it'll hit them both. But with Annie, she has pretty long range, so you want to be more careful. As you can see, Annie was not in range there, so I went in, Q'd, and used my power chord on Quinn because she was closer. But as you can see, the pattern doesn't change. All we're doing is going in, Q'ing, going back out. With Sona, you want to make sure that you want to stay safe. That's the important part. You are squishy, so you want to stay safe. So you want to quickly go in Q and quickly get back out. Unless you're going to be going in for a kill with your ADC, unless you have your stun ready, well, we have our ultimate right now, unless you're going for that, then you want to stay behind. You don't want to be in the front line. So right now we're trying to get, as you can see, we get damage off of damage we do to the turret as well because we have that Spellthief. So whether we poke with our Q, auto attacks on enemy champions, or do damage to turrets, we still get gold from that Spellthief. Right now, Annie still has her stun up. I want to make sure they're not close to each other. I can go in Q right now. Quinn is close. Annie's far away. I go in Q, get a good poke off, and go back out. That's all we're doing. I know I've probably been repeating it for the whole video now. But we see that here, Chuck. We're trying to give him some help. A little too late though. I get a good stun off, and you know Graves is dealing with Quinn there. Good focus there. Quinn is forced to retreat. We don't have enough damage though. Annie wastes her ultimate there, and we're ready to heal up. As you can see, I only use my heal when we really need it. Your heal costs a lot of mana. You only want to use it when you really need it. Otherwise, you always want to constantly be queuing. You want to be Eing when you need to escape, or you need to gap close. You want to W when you need to, when you're low on health, and you want to Q always. As you can see, Quinn is close again, and he's far away. We go in to get a Q. We have our power cord up right now, so we don't want to hit a minion. We want to use it on. Now here, I'm afraid that he's going to ult me, so I flash over to Graves, put an exhaust on him, and we get some really good damage off of Annie there. And we're able to avoid that gank. In certain situations, you could have used your stun there, and we probably could have killed Warwick, but I didn't have my stun. But if you would have had your stun there, it wouldn't have been a bad idea to try and stun him. It wouldn't have been such a bad idea. You possibly could have done something. I don't know if Annie had her stun though. If she had her stun, it probably would have been a bad idea, but just be aware when you're getting ganked, you can stun them with your ultimate and pick up a kill if your enemies are on low health or not full health. Otherwise, it'd be 3v2 and you could lose that. And right here, we're just trying to pick up some CS. It's very hard to see with Sona though, so it's probably gonna fail miserably. She has very low AD, but you know, if you can't pick up CS while your AC is gone, don't put it to waste. Try to get it. Otherwise, turret's gonna get it, and no one gets the gold. But Graves has come back right now. He has a huge lead in farm right now. And I think he already has a BF sword built, so we're doing fairly well in lane. And right now, we've been able to make better plays than they have. They've only really capitalized on one play, which was a mistake that I made by overextending. But so far, we are winning lane in CS, and I think we even get tower first. Graves is typing here. We see that Annie is the only one here right now. I think Quinn may have backed again. So we're able to get free CS here, or warding that tri-bush up again. Our pink ward did get destroyed that time, 12 minutes. We had 12 minutes of vision, I guess. Well, not really, because we had more than a regular ward, though. So we ward that tri-bush again. Make sure everything's always warded. That tri-bush and river bush must be warded at all times, because you could get ganked. You want to be secure in your lane. Quinn's come back right now, and right now we have 2 points in our power cord. We need 1 more point to get the actual power cord, so we're gonna see. Sometimes, you know, sometimes I'll spam like E and W real quick to get a power cord, so I can quickly go in and Q. But right now, all I would need is 1 Q, and I can auto attack right after. So when you have 2 charges in your power cord, you really only need 1 Q, and you can auto attack right after to get the power cord off. You don't need to wait for your power cord. You can anticipate your power cord, and you can guess when it's gonna come up, so that you can actually do something. Here we're going to try to get a quick kill on Zed since he's low and he's staying in lane like a fool. I'm going to try to gank that mid lane. Unfortunately, I'm not fast enough and we're not able to get an assist here. But Graves does get a kill since he already has enough damage built. And Zed did not ward there either, which really caused him to die, which is a really poor decision, because if you're staying in lane with that low health to gain CS, then you need to have wards. As you can see, I'm only using my E right now to get back to lane, to move around the map. That's when you want to use your E, to move around the map, to help other lanes, to escape, to gap close. Other than that, it honestly costs way too much mana to use it as a source for building up your power cord. I usually only build up my power cord with my Q. As you saw there, I did build it up there with my E, just because I didn't have anything in Q and I have enough mana. But you want to be aware of mana consumption. And right now they are missing, so not sure where they're at right now. And Graves is going to go back. I'm guessing he has a lot of gold from that Zed kill and all the CS that he has. So we're just going to wait here. Right now he's sitting at a 100 CS, and I think the Quinn is only at 50 or so. So we are doubling CS right now. Alright, Sona, you want to stay by turret when your AC is not here, because you really can't do much. Now, I could have gone back too, and we possibly could have bought something. However, I don't want them to get a free push, because I don't know where they are right now. So we're gonna ward dragon. And I guess they were middle, which allows us to really get more farm here with Graves. Now granted, this is not one of my best Sona games. You'll see later on I die once again. Usually I have better Sona games than this, but you know, this does really show you how to play Sona very well. You know, mainly just poking and, you know, healing when you need to, giving that shield. Yeah, and stunning correctly. That's mainly all you do with Sona. Fairly easy to play as long as you stay safe. That's the most important thing. You need to stay safe. Which is one of the reasons why we also don't really build tank, because with Sona you have to stay safe. You're not all-inning. You're not doing anything crazy to take damage. You're staying safe, poking, ulting when you can, and going back out. So building tank is kind of useless because, you know, you're not really in the front lines. You're mostly in the back. So that's why we're doing that. We're just constantly getting good pokes on Quinn there. But like I said, this is one of the reasons why to build AP more. I'm not saying build an AP carry, but you want to build things that can, help you gain mana, help you gain cooldown reduction. We are building an Unholy Grail, as you'll see. We are building a Zhonya's later on as well to give us some defense, but for the most part, we're here to poke and to support our team with our abilities. That's one of the reasons why we're building ability power. If you're playing someone like Leona, you're gonna be in the front lines. You're gonna be going all in. You want to build tank there. Not only that, but we have a Cho'Gath, which is a mega tank, so we don't really need to build tank. And like I said earlier, you want to play Sona when you have a tank. If you don't have a tank, do not play Sona because you're going to be lacking a tank. Here we got a really good power chord off, and I didn't want to steal the kill from Graves to kill Warwick because my Q would have killed both of them. So I didn't want to do that. So we had to let one go. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to get the kill on both of them, but we did get the kill on Quinn. But that was a really good power chord there. As you can see, I think we stunned both of them. Let's actually rewind that real quick because I want to... Did we stun both of them? No, we didn't. I tried to stun both. If I would have stunned, we could have gotten him. I tried to set it up so we could stun both of them, but there was a point in time where he wasn't within the radius of my stun, and then when he was, he moved down, so it didn't get him. But you see, right there, I tried to stun both of them, which is what you want to do. You don't just want to stun one person. But with that was a good stun there. Allowed Graves to pick up a kill. And as you can see, right now we're going to get Dragon. And their Warwick is too low on health, so he's not even going to bother to contest this. So we're going to pick up easy Dragon here. And we are sitting at 2,000 gold right now. Low on mana as well. So we're going to start to build something. I'm going to pause the video here real quick because I want to explain some things. Now, you always want to finish building Frost Queens first. You want to finish building first. The main reason why is because it gives you cooldown reduction. 10% cooldown reduction. Plus it gives you mana regen, which is what we need. These are two things we really need. It gives you more gold as well, and it gives you ability power. The Talisman gives you similar stats. So don't worry about whether Talisman or Frost Queens. If you're building Talisman, it gives you similar stats. It'll just give you a different active. Second thing you want to build is your Captain's Boots. And I think if we play this, what happens here is that I realize I don't have enough for a ward, and I wanted to buy a ward, so I was going to try to for some reason the undo button didn't work here, even though I didn't even leave base. Not sure what happened there. I wanted to take the enchantment off my Captain's Boots and buy a ward, so I'm just going to wait here. But Captain's Boots is really good as your second buy because it brings you more mobility. It gives you a speed boost, and it gives everyone around you a speed boost. So Captain's Enchantment's mobility boosts really allow you to get around the map quicker, escape when you need to escape. It allows you to be more mobile. As Sona, you have to be mobile because you want to get in, poke, get back out. You're not building tank. You're a squishy character. You want to have a lot of mobility so that you can get in and get back out quickly, do your damage, do your heals, and stay safe. So that's the main thing with that. And that's how we're building Captain's Boots next. And obviously we pick up a ward. I waited for that ward because we want to have a ward at least. You don't want to go in the lane without any wards. You always want to buy a ward. Now one thing you'll notice about my builds is I don't include a Sightstone. Now the short explanation is this. If you know how to manage your wards, then you don't need to buy a Sightstone. Buy regular stealth wards. Look at the damage here we deal to Rise here because of our Q aura. As you can see, we want to stay safe. We want to be in the back. We're low on health. And right now our heal is a lot. You see how much our healed ourselves? At this point in the game, healed is a lot. Here we stun Annie. She tried to get a triple kill, or at least a double kill here. She ulted us. And she probably could have gotten one kill if I didn't stun her there. So we stun her there for security. But as you can see, our heal is a lot of healing at this point in the game. At this point in the game, heal is really efficient. So here's where we want to start putting points in our heal, which at this point in the game we are putting points in our heal. But as I was saying, if you know how to manage your wards very well, then stick with your stealth totem and stick with the green wards. That's fine. If you don't know how to manage your wards very well, and if you're having trouble with wards, you don't know what places to ward properly, you know, you're new to support, buy a Sightstone. And I'm planning to make a video later on in the future about, you know, when not to buy a Sightstone, when it's okay not to. But for now, just trust me. If you know how to, if you don't know how to, if you don't know how to ward correctly, if you don't know how to manage wards, buy a Sightstone because it's going to help you a lot. But if you know how to manage your wards, you can stick with a stealth totem and a green ward, and you can just keep on buying those. I've made the math before. On average, I buy about 8 wards, 8 to 10 wards, and it comes to about the same amount of gold, or even cheaper sometimes, than buying a ruby sightstone or a regular sightstone. And here, once again, Zedge is playing really, like, he's so low on health, and we're able to pick up a kill here with our E. We use our active to slow them down here, but unfortunately, they're gonna go after us first. You know, I tried to use my active on my Spellthief to, you know, slow them down so we can escape, but it didn't slow them down enough, and I got CC'd hard there, and we died there. So that's our second death of the game. And this is actually going to be our last death of the game here. And next thing you want to start building is Archangel Staff. Archangel Staff is really good because it gives you so much mana. You can spam your stuff after you get Archangel Staff. You can spam so much spells. It's ridiculous. The cool thing about this also is that after a certain amount of spell usages, every time you use a spell, it gives you mana. And after you've gained at least 750 mana, it gives you, it upgrades your Archangel Staff into another item. I forget the name of it, but it upgrades your item. It upgrades your Archangel Staff, and whenever it gives you another active, the item will give you a shield. So you can become a little more tanky. You can play a little more aggressively because you have a shield there. As you can see here, we try to kill Zed, but it doesn't happen. But as I was saying, Archangel Staff upgrades into another staff, and it gives you a shield on an active. So that's why it's really good as well. You know, we're not building much defense in our build. We are buying Zhonyas and Unholy Grail for the armor and magic resist, but that shield on the upgraded Archangel Staff will give us something to work with as well. Here we're gonna get a good stun. As you can see, we almost got 3 people in the stun there, and he wasn't that close though. We got a good shutdown here. We try to flash here so we can use our active and use our slow on our Spellthieves, and we actually happen to pick up a double kill here. Now sometimes that'll happen, you know. At this point it really doesn't matter though, because our Graves is so fed on farm. You know, we did such a good zoning them out. He has so much farm right now. A double or triple Quinn's farm, and he already has a lot of kills. So at this point it doesn't really matter if you pick up kills. You want to avoid taking kills, but sometimes it'll happen. You know, as a Sona player, you're gonna be taking some kills, because especially in situations like that, when you try to provide CC, like I tried to provide my my slow. The reason why we got those kills is because I used my active on my Spellthief. Otherwise they would have ran away. So I tried to provide utility, but unfortunately I also picked up kills. Now, you know, that can sometimes happen, but for the most part, it's okay if you steal some kills late game. You want to try to avoid it early game as much as possible though. But come mid-late game, you're going to pick up some kills and it'll be okay. Now I'm waiting on my Archangel Staff here. As you can see, this is one of the only times I also don't pick up a ward. I actually sold a ward, and the only reason why I'm doing that is because I see that we're pushed down mid lane really hard. The enemy is having a really hard time doing anything. So at this point I'm thinking to myself, okay, we can pretty much power steamroll our way through this game. And you know, that doesn't mean that wards aren't important anymore. They are still important, but I really need to pick up the Archangel Staff to help us spam our spells so we can get that upgrade in our staff. We can gain mana, and we can continue to spam our spells. As you can see here, at this point, after we get our Archangel Staff, you want to spam your spells. You want to constantly use EQW because you want to get that mana up. Here we got a really good stun here, triple stun there, and that was a great. We try to get a slow on Warwick. It doesn't get him. The active doesn't hit though, but regardless, we're still able to get him here. But as I said, you want to spam your abilities after you get Archangel Staff, because for every ability you use, you gain 8 mana. So you want to spam all of your stuff as much as you can, so you can get that upgrade on Archangel Staff. You want to get the upgrade so you get that shield and you get that bonus mana. And this will allow you to spam a lot more often. Now, as you can see, at this point in the game, we're doing so good that they may not even have enough chance because, you know, we're pushing down mid lane so hard right now. Our Cho'Gath is huge. You know, our Graves and, you know, me, myself, both of us are pretty fed. I'm fed on assists and kills, and he's fed on so much CS, it's ridiculous. Here, Zed tries to go in. Don't know why he tried to go in. I didn't do enough damage, though, unfortunately. He would have died with my power cord, but not enough damage off there. Quinn comes in, tries to do something, isn't good thing, just trying to keep our Cho'Gath alive with the heals, get some pokes off, and then go right back out. We don't want to engage in that. Our Cho'Gath isn't that high. Our Graves is not that high in health, and I can do barely enough on our own, and our Echo's low in mana, so the best thing there was just to poke, get our allies' health up, and then go back and try to retreat, which we did successfully. Now we're going to pause the video here real quick once more to explain our build path a little bit. Once you've gotten your Frost Queen, you've gotten your Enchanted Captain Mobility Boots, you've gotten your Archangel Staff, when you've gotten these 3 items, you can sort of you know, decide on what you want to build. If you're doing really well in the game and you're not getting focused a lot, then buy Lich Bane. It will give you so much more damage on your power cord. It's absolutely ridiculous. If you're getting focused a little though, especially if you're getting focused by ADs a lot, Zhonya's is really good because it'll allow you to go into an invulnerable state and stay alive. When you come back alive, hopefully your enemies would have killed them and you can heal them up. If you're getting focused by APs a lot, or you can buy Holy Grail. It'll give you CDR, cooldown reduction, which is really good. Along with our Holy Grail and with our Frost Queens, we are actually achieving 30% cooldown reduction, which is really good on Sona. So, you know, it depends on where you want to go from here. I'm going to be building Zhonya's first because I am getting pretty focused by the ADs, you know, the APs. I mean, Annie isn't going to really be focusing me. She's going to be focusing, you know, our AD carry or our Azir. But I am getting a lot of damage done to by the ADs. So I'm going to try to be building Zhonya's. But, you know, just a note, from here on, it really depends on what you want to build. For the most part, I tend to build Holy Grail and Lich Bane. But in this case, I am going to be building Zhonya's first. So just a note there, the item building path is, you know, it can change every game. So that's just a note that I wanted to make there. And we are picking some more wards. As you can see, I'm not stopping to buy wards. I'm gonna continue to buy wards. And as I said, if you're not gonna buy a Sightstone, make sure you upgrade your stealth totem. You want to make sure that you want a ward still. Warding is so important. So as you can see, we bought some more wards. We got some armor as well to help us be a little more, you know, defensive. And right now we're just going to try to walk with the Graves here. We have a power cord available. We're using our E to speed up real quick. Here's a rise. Get the power cord off. Q damage. It's crazy how much gold you get off from just using that. Like, I think I got like 50 gold off of that just by auto-attacking, queuing, and then auto-attacking again with power cord. I think we got like 50 gold off of that, plus we got the assist gold there, so, you know, Spellthief is really good. But, you know, like I said, Talisman is really good too, because you get gold for every CS that your ADC gets, so it depends which one you like more. Here, Quinn tries to do something. Quinn's not going to go in, and she knows I'm there. She knows I have my ultimate. If she would have gone in, she probably would have died there. We're going to try to see if we can set up something good here. You know, I have an ultimate. If I can get a good 3-man, 4-man stun, they'll be dead. I'm going to try to use my stealth totem here to ward that in case they come around. Get our speed boost up. As you can see, at this point in the game, the speed boost is really good. We get sped up so hard by the E here. I'm just trying to build up my power cord right here. And we have a power cord. As you can see, I'm making sure not to click any of the minions so I don't waste my power cord. And I'm gonna try to use it on Rise here, get my Q, get the power cord off, and as you can see, he has some magic resist belt, so he didn't do that much damage. He does have an Abyssal Scepter belt, so we don't want to use our Q on him anymore. Here at this point, you see right now we're getting so low, but we flash out just in the last second, and there's that terrible ult there. I was really nervous. I didn't want to die. I was so nervous there, so I just tried to ult someone, and It didn't work, you know. That's one of the things you want to make sure with Sona. The ult is so good, you know, but if you fail the ult, it can be punishing. The good thing is that we were under turret there. Azir put a turret up, and we basically were able to, you know, we were able to not get punished by that. So you know, just be aware. You know, if you get nervous, don't force an ult. You want to use an ult when you see a good opportunity. So at this point in the game, we pretty much got this in the bag. We got it during inhibitor, and as you can see, we don't have enough mana used yet or abilities used yet to upgrade our Archangel staff. But you'll see that when you play Sona and you use this build, you see at a certain point in time, and they just surrendered as well. This Archangel staff will actually upgrade, and you'll get a shield. So there's the game for that. You know, it wasn't one of my best Sona games, but it was pretty decent enough to show you how to play her. The Annie support it's really hard. I hate going against Annie supports. It's really annoying for me. I think here we go. Here are our final stats. I did manage to pick up an A plus. For the most part, 7 CS. That's perfectly fine. As you can see, our Graves has 216 CS compared to the Quinn 142. So a great performance. I think it really helped him early. We had such a great poking early lane phase that Graves was able to get all the CS he needed, and we were able to zone out Quinn. Even with those 3 kills that she had, from there on, she didn't really do much. Annie, of course, annoying as she is, went 0-5-6. And generally, their teams just didn't perform very well, you know. And but for the most part, 5-2-9 is a pretty solid game for Sona. As long as you're averaging about 0-2 deaths per game on a Sona, you're doing really well, you know. So that's pretty much it, guys. That was the gameplay footage. We're gonna go over counters real quick as the last portion of this video. So let's go ahead and do that. I actually am not going to use Champion Select because, as you can see in my Mobafire guide, I actually have a lot of the counters mapped out for you here. So if you ever need help on how to counter someone, I have it here. Threats to look out for. Leona is a massive threat. Thresh is a massive threat. Blitzcrank is a massive threat. What makes it even more terrible is that these are the 3 most popular supports, or among the most popular supports. Now, one thing you need to know, when laning against these people, you need to be aware of their abilities. If Thresh's Q is down, you can go in for a pull. If Leona's E is down or stun is down, you can go in for a poke. Did I say pull earlier on? I meant poke. You can go in for pokes. When you know that these people's pulls or their engages are down, you can go in for pokes. One thing you can also do is stay behind your minions so you don't get pulled and try to poke from there. It's a little more difficult to do it when you're like, you'll see my Mobafire guide, and you'll see that in my gameplay I tried to go to the outside line, to the outside of the minions, try to go around, poke, and then go back in, like go back out. But in these situations, it's gonna be harder to poke. So these are the biggest threats right here. Misfortune is also somewhat of a threat because, you know, she does have that. She does have a lot of long range abilities like her E, and then her Q bounces off of minions. So, you know, if she pokes you down, then, you know, you're gonna be in a terrible situation. Tark isn't too bad, you know. He has a stun. We went against the Taric though. I went against the Taric in that Draven game that I showed you earlier. It wasn't that difficult though, but you know, a good Taric will know what to do. Just be aware of him. And the rest of these aren't that difficult really. For Blitzcrank, Thresh, and Leona though, you know, if you're playing against Leona, try to focus her first. Try to poke her down first, because her ADC is going to rely on her engages. I know when I play Leona, I hate going against an Annie because I get poked down so hard. A good Sona will poke the Leona down, and you can win. So you want to make sure you focus Leona with your pokes. That way she isn't able to be confident, and she's not able to go in as easily. But be careful. Be careful with your pokes. You want to be aware of their engages. Be aware of Blitzcrank's pull. Know when it's up. Know how long it's on cooldown. Same with Thresh and same with Leona. If you're aware of their abilities, if you're aware of their cooldowns, and if you can position yourself well enough to get good pokes off, you shouldn't have a problem. It's going to require practice though, and you may get some games where you get crushed by these supports, but the more you play against them, the better you'll get. Now, if we go down to Nami and Morgana, aren't that big of a threat. Yes, they do have stuns, but you want to be using your E a lot more often in this lane to avoid those things. If you see a Morgana stun coming, try to E, try to speed boost away. Same with Nami. These aren't really that threat. They don't pose that big of a threat. Just if they get a stun on you, you're pretty much dead because Sona is very squishy. So you may want to build a Crucible. You know, if you tend to get stunned a lot, you may want to build a Crucible. But as long as you don't get stunned by these guys, you should be okay. It shouldn't be too difficult. I mean, Sona has a lot of mobility. Our build provides a lot of mobility as well, so it shouldn't be too difficult. As for Caitlyn, Nidalee, Ezreal, Soraka, and Graves, they have some poke potential, you know, and you know, I explained pretty much how to go against these guys. But for the most part, just try to not take too much damage. Once again, be aware of their abilities. Be aware when their pokes are up. When their pokes are down, try to go in for your poke. Nidalee should be very easy. Just stay behind your minions. Caitlyn can be annoying. However, she's very squishy, so you could easily take her down. Ezreal can be really annoying. But for the most part, just be aware. As for Braum, he can be really easy. Because, you know, his Q can only really hit you if you're out in open space. You can pretty much poke him down with your Q. Azir doesn't go support that much, but if he does go support, you know, it can be difficult. However, he's a heavy poke support lane, as they say here. So, you know, keep your distance, and when his poke is down, engage. Kind of the same thing. This can be a hard matchup, but, you know, hopefully you won't get him a lot. I don't see him a lot, so that's why I said he isn't that big of a threat. A lot of these matchups, though, really require you to know the enemy's abilities and require you to know when you can go in. As you saw in that Annie game, I didn't go in until I knew that her stun was either down or she wasn't close to her ADC. So you gotta be aware a lot. If you go against a Lulu, a Kalista, a Trendle, Janna, or Nunu, even a Bard or a Vayne or a Katarina, I mean, these guys aren't really that hard. You can pretty much poke them down really easy. For the most part, you know, as long as you poke every champion down here, if you poke them down and stay safe, you can win every lane. It's just harder to do it with these three guys. With this area right here, it's a little harder to do it. And if you want to know more on how to counter specifically, you know, you can go ahead and click one of these and you can read about them and how to counter them. So, as I said, this link is in the description below. Now, some possible items that you could use to counter. You know, if you're getting focused a lot, you know, Rhyalize is a good alternative. It gives you more health, 400 health, and it still gives you ability power. So if you want to buy Rhyalize instead of Zhonya's, or if you want to buy Rhyalize instead of Unholy Grail, or even instead of Lich Bane, you know, since you're getting focused a lot, you may want to buy Rhyalize instead of Lich Bane, so that you can get a little more tanky. If you go against an all AD team, Thornmail's a must. It's a must, because you'll be more tanky and you'll reflect some of the damage back. Ardent Sensor is really good if you have if you have two ADCs in your team, like a Vayne top and a Caitlyn bottom, or you know, people that rely heavily on attack speed, like maybe a Master Yi. You know, Ardent Sensor is good because your W always gives a shield. Your auras, you know, they give off shields, they heal. So Ardent Sensor is really good on the Sona. Abyssal Scepter is very good if you're going against an all AP team, so that's always good to have. Crucible if you're having a really hard time against a Morgana, you know, such like that, or a Nami, or if your ADC is getting stunned a lot, getting CC'd a lot, Crucible is good as well. And we have our Sightstone if you don't know how to manage wards. As I said, I will be making a video in the future on, you know, when not to buy a Sightstone, when it's okay to buy one, when it's not okay to buy one, when it's okay not to buy one, that whole thing. And I'll explain some of the calculations between the gold and stuff. But for now, just trust me, if you're not good at warding, if you don't know how to manage wards very well, Sightstone is there for a reason to make warding easier, so buy it. But if you have a lot of support, if you have a lot of experience with warding, a lot of experience with support, I think you'll be able to sustain yourself enough with stealth wards and stealth totems. For the most part, this is how your end build will be. And Seraph's Embrace is the upgraded Archangel staff. As you can see, the active gives you a mana shield that drains 20% of your current mana, and you have tons of it anyway, so it won't really make a difference. And it shields you for an equal amount plus 150. So the more mana you have, the more it shields you. So this is a really good defensive item, and it gives you a ton of mana anyway. But for the most part, this is how your build should usually end. If you're buying Talisman, then you're probably going to be buying this right here. But for the most part, this is how it should usually end. And like I said, some of these counters that you may, some of these counter picks, some of these counter items that you may have, or beneficial items for your team. Oracle's Lens, if you're buying a Sightstone, sell your Stealth Totem and buy an Oracle's Lens. That's pretty much it, guys. Hopefully you learn how to play Sona. I like to make these long guides to give you a really detailed look at the champion, to show you how to play him, to show you, some good items, some items that are possible, give you some techniques on a champion. This guide right here on Mobafire has a lot more detail into it. You can look into it if you'd like. It has a lot more detail, and you can read it. It's not too long of a guide. It gives you pros and cons of when to play Sona, when not to play Sona, and explains some of the masteries, some of the runes, some of the build paths, what to replace when building, laning phase, team fights, teaches you how to ward, teaches you how to play during team fights depending on if you're winning or losing, and it even gives you a list of counters and non-counters. So that's pretty much it, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. I'll be making some more guides in the future on League of Legends Champions. I have a Riven guide out right now and a Leona guide out right now, so if you want to check those out, you may. There'll be a link in the description, there'll be a link on an annotation, and a card in the top right corner of the screen. And that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you for watching, and hopefully you get better with your Sona, and go out there and spread the music. I guess that's the appropriate ending, right? Alright, see you guys next time. Thank you for watching. I hope that this video helped you out in any way. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. It'll really help me out. If you didn't like it, you can leave a comment below as well and give some feedback. If you have any other comments or questions, please leave them in the comments as well. And I usually try my best to answer those comments within the next 24 to 48 hours, depending on how busy I am. I also have plenty of other content on my channel about different gaming tutorials, as well as general gaming videos for Guild Wars 2, League of Legends, Minecraft, and any others that you may be interested in. So if you're interested in that type of stuff, check it out. And if you like what you see, you can subscribe too. Would really appreciate it. You can also check out my other channels and social medias as shown on the screen right now. And with that, thank you so much, everyone. And this is GS Man Smart, and I'll be back sooner than you think. Don't go anywhere.